Most people think the secret to building wealth is earning more. A bigger salary, a side hustle, a pay rise that finally fixes everything. And earning more does help. But here's what I've learned watching how everyday Australians actually build wealth. The people who end up comfortable are rarely the highest earners. They're the ones who did things in the right order. Because there is an order to this, a smartest order to put your money where every dollar does the most work. Before it moves on to the next job, and almost no one is taught it. We get told to invest, but not what to fund first, or which account quietly hands you free money, or which step most people skip and pay for later. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through that order, step by step, using the actual Australian system. Real accounts, real names, the same 5 rungs I'd put my own money through. By the end, you'll know exactly where your next $100 should go, and why. By the way, if you're new here, I'm Mia, and I make plain English money videos for everyday Australians. This is not a video about what to buy. I'm not going to tell you which shares are hot or which fund will win this year. That's the part everyone obsesses over, and it matters far less than the order. You can pick a perfectly good investment and still lose thousands by funding it in the wrong order, in the wrong account. But first, why starting beats waiting? Here is how compounding works. Say, you invest $100 and earn 8%. The next year, you earn 8% not just on your original 100, but on the whole 108. Your growth starts earning its own growth. Slowly at first, and then, over decades, not slowly at all. Let me make that real. Imagine 2 friends, Priya and Chloe, both 32, both on a similar wage. They each watch a video about investing on the very same afternoon. Priya is nervous, but she starts anyway. She puts $400 a month into a low-cost index fund and mostly leaves it alone, earning around 8% a year on average. Chloe means to start too, but she wants to read more first, feel surer, pick the right thing. 10 years slip by before she finally begins, with the same $400 a month. By 65, Priya has around $770,000. Chloe has around $315,000. Same monthly amount, same return. The only difference is that Priya started 10 years earlier, and here is the part that stops people. Priya only put in about $48,000 more of her own money than Chloe. That 10-year head start turned a small difference in contributions into more than $400,000. That gap is not the cost of a bad investment. It's the cost of waiting. The order matters, but starting matters more than getting it perfect. Perfectionism, when it comes to money, is just procrastination in nicer clothes. And procrastination, as you've just seen, is expensive. So let me give you the order. There are 5 rungs, and you climb them in sequence. Rung 1, your runway. Rung 2, your guaranteed return. Rung 3, the free money. Rung 4, the shelter. And rung 5, the long game. And there is one rung in the middle that is the closest thing to free money in the Australian system, and most people walk straight past it. I'll come back to that one. Rung 1 is your runway. This is the boring one, and it's non-negotiable. Before you invest a single dollar, you need a cash buffer, an emergency fund. I call it a runway because a runway gives a plane the room to take off safely. Without one, it doesn't matter how good the plane is. It's not going anywhere. Your investments work the same way. The buffer is what lets them do their job because it stops you touching them at the worst possible moment. Here's what I mean. Markets fall regularly. Your investments will, at some point, drop 20% or more, and that is completely normal. If that happens and your car dies the same week and you have no cash, you're forced to sell while you're down and lock in the loss, or reach for a credit card. Either way, the buffer would have been the cheaper option. And there's a behavioral cost too. When part of your brain is braced about money, you have less left for the calm, rational call. As a rough guide, aim for 3 to 6 months of living expenses in a high-interest savings account, separate from your everyday spending. If your job is secure, the lower end is fine. If your income is variable, you're self-employed or people depend on you, lean towards the higher end. Once that's in place, you climb to rung 2. Rung 2 is your guaranteed return. And in Australia, this is the rung the overseas videos get wrong, because our system works differently. This rung is about clearing high-interest debt, credit cards, Afterpay, and the other buy now, pay later accounts, personal loans, and a lot of car loans. Here is why it comes before investing, and it's just arithmetic. A credit card might charge you around 20% interest a year. If you pay that card off, you've effectively earned 20%, guaranteed tax-free, with zero risk. There is nothing in the share market that can promise you that. Paying off a 20% debt beats it every single time. So before you put money into investments, look at any debt costing you more than about 8 or 10% and clear it first. One quiet note: if you're starting from nothing, it's fine to keep a small starter buffer, say 1,000 or 2, while you attack the debt, so a flat tire doesn't send you straight back to the credit card. But expensive debt comes before the share market, always. Rung 3 is the free money. This is the one I told you most people walk straight past. In Australia, your employer already has to pay 12% of your wage into your super. That part is automatic, but it's not what I'm talking about here. The free money is what you can unlock on top of that. If you earn under around $49,000 and you put some of your own after-tax money into super, the government chips in too. Put in 1,000 of your own dollars and it hands you 500 more for nothing. That's an instant 50% return before the money has grown by a single cent, and a huge number of eligible Australians never claim it. And if you earn more than that, there's a different version of free money for you. It's called salary sacrificing into super. You ask your employer to send some of your wage into super before it's taxed. So instead of being taxed at your normal rate, maybe 30 or 37 cents in the dollar, it's taxed at just 15% on the way in. The difference stays in your account, working for you. So Rung 3 is simple. If you're a lower earner, claim that co-contribution. If you earn more, look at salary sacrifice. Either way, you're picking up money the system is offering you, and most people leave it sitting there. That is the rung I promised you at the start. Rung 4 is the shelter. This is about being smart with tax, because the account you invest through decides how much of your return you actually keep. The big one in Australia is super itself. Money inside super is generally taxed at just 15%, both going in and on its earnings. Compare that to investing the same money in your own name, where the growth can be taxed at your full marginal rate. Over decades, on the exact same investment, that difference is enormous. The trade-off is that you generally can't touch it until you're around 60, so it's for your long game. And here is a clever one if you're saving for your first home. It's called the First Home Super Saver Scheme. It lets you put extra money into super, up to $15,000 a year and $50,000 in total, and then pull it back out for your first home deposit. Because it goes in at that lower 15% tax rate, you can end up with a noticeably bigger deposit than saving in a normal account. Most first home buyers have never heard of it. Rung 5 is the long game. If you've built your runway, cleared your expensive debt, claimed your free money, and made the most of super, and you still have money to invest, this is where it goes. This is a regular investment account in your own name, where you buy things like index funds, exchange-traded funds, shares. The upside is flexibility. Unlike super, you can access this money whenever you like, which makes it perfect for goals between now and retirement. The trade-off is tax. Outside of super, you'll usually pay tax on your dividends and on your gains when you sell. That's not a reason to avoid it. Once the earlier rungs are handled, max this out too. It's simply why we fill the tax-sheltered rungs first. And one option quietly belongs here, if you have a mortgage. Money in an offset account against your home loan effectively earns you your mortgage interest rate, tax-free and risk-free. For a lot of Australians, that's one of the smartest places a spare dollar can go. Same logic as paying off the credit card, just gentler. So there is the order, all 5 rungs. Your runway, 3 to 6 months of expenses in cash. Your guaranteed return, clearing the expensive debt. The free money, the co-contribution or salary sacrifice, the shelter, super, and the first home super saver. And the long game, investing in your own name. You don't need to finish one rung perfectly before moving to the next. But this is the order of priority, where each new dollar does the most work. So here is what to actually do, and you can start tonight. 1. Open your banking app and check your buffer. Work out roughly 3 months of your expenses and decide whether your runway is built or whether that's your first job. 2. Write down every debt you have with its interest rate next to it. Anything above about 8 or 10% goes to the top of the list, ahead of investing. 3. Log into MyGov and look at your super. Check which fund you're in, and if you earn under about $49,000, search the words Government Super Co-Contribution and see whether you qualify. 4. If buying your first home is anywhere on your horizon, spend 20 minutes reading about the First Home Super Saver scheme on the ATO website tonight before you forget it exists. And if this made the order click for you, do one thing. Share it with someone who needs it. Someone you know who keeps meaning to start investing and keeps waiting for the perfect moment. This is the nudge. One last thing before you go. If a lot of this felt new, if investing has mostly been one of those things you keep meaning to get to, please don't worry. None of this gets taught to us properly. Starting from the beginning isn't being behind. It's the smartest move there is. So here's where I'd point you next. I've made one long video that walks through the whole financial picture for Australians. From the ground up, in the order, it actually matters. You're paying tax, so you finally know your real numbers. Then super, the one most of us are quietly leaving the most money on the table with. Then debt, then investing, then property. And finally, how to pull all of it together into one system that runs whether you're paying close attention or not. Everything we just walked through is one rung of that bigger picture. That video is the whole map. It's the single best place to start because everything else on this channel builds on top of it. The video's right here, and I'll see you over there.